Okay, I hope you all had a wonderful and epic 2019. That time has come. The time for me to give you my list of the top 10 best movies of 2019 per my opinion and the movies that I actually saw. There's a couple things to keep in mind there. Actually, there's a couple things to keep in mind every year I do this. One, I have not seen every movie that came out in 2019. That's the constant every year. I don't see every movie. Just the way it is. About Christmas time, if I haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to. I've been me long enough to know that that's just how that is. Also, these are not the top 10 technically perfect films of 2019. These are just my favorites. These aren't reviews. I'm going to say a couple things about the movie I list and then move on to the next one. If you want reviews, I have reviews of all the movies on this list on my channel. Go check them out. Have fun. And funny enough, just because I gave a movie an awesome-tacular does not guarantee it passage into the list of the top 10 best movies of the year for me. There's actually one movie I can think of in particular didn't make it on. But I'm very happy with this list. Not going to bore you too much with this intro any longer because that's the boring part. So here's my unprofessional, very biased, and subjective list of my top 10 favorite movies of 2019, starting with number 10. Starting out this list at number 10, Uncut Gems. Funny enough, it's the movie I saw most recently. I only saw this movie a couple days ago. I haven't had a lot of time to marinate on it. However, one thing's for sure, I saw something special here. I don't know if it's due to the fact that I was surprised because I was blindsided in the best way possible at the fact that Adam Sandler was great, but it's a quick-moving, very fast-paced, anxiety-filled look into this hustler's life. This hustler that you really do empathize with. I thought it was great. Check it out. Number 9. Next up, Dark Waters. Dark Waters is one of those movies, when I was going into it, I was like, okay, this is what I expect. A slow-moving, well-acted drama that's hopefully interesting. It's a well-acted drama that is interesting, but it didn't move as slowly as I thought it was going to. This movie actually really hooked me. I was invested. I was there. A corporate cover-up from the highest level, no regard for human life, unpacking that Pandora's box. And it shines a light on something where you're like, are we gonna resolve that? Has it been resolved? My mom got pans for Christmas this year. I was like, is it Teflon? It's fascinating. Number 8. Next up is The Irishman. Look, I'm a sucker for Martin Scorsese mob epics. And that's what he delivered with The Irishman, the likes of which I felt I hadn't gotten from him in many years. He's taken us back to his casino vibe, his Goodfellas vibe. I didn't feel it was as good as those two other movies, but he delivered. It's a movie that goes for the angle to make the audience contemplate their own mortality. If he didn't stick that landing, the movie would have fallen flat. But he did stick that landing, and good for him. Number 7. Next up, Shazam. Okay, I figured Shazam was gonna squeak into my top 10, and it did. But then, among all the movies my family and I could have watched at Christmas, any of the Christmas classics, Christmas Story, Christmas Vacation, Die Hard, we watched Shazam for some weird reason. And that bumped Shazam up a couple notches on my list. In a world where we are inundated with superhero movies, Shazam is something that it's refreshing. It's refreshing. It's also one of the better comedies of 2019 because it's actually hilarious. But the comedy's not out of place because the subject matter completely lends itself to comedy. And when the movie cranks up the sentimental notches on the family dynamic, yeah, I get the feels. It's a good one. Shazam's great. Number 6. We're gonna stick into the superhero genre for a second because Avengers Endgame, that also happened. You can say Avengers Infinity War is the climax, this is the tribute, but it's the conclusion, a finale of an active 10-year arc. Avengers Endgame had some great character moments, some great tribute moments, some great fan service moments, and some great send-offs. And among all of that, they still stuck the landing for the finale of their Avengers saga. I appreciate a movie that can do all of that. There was a time in my life I knew I would never see anything like Avengers Endgame on screen. Yet here we are, and it just turns me into a kid every time. Number 5. All right, so now we're getting into those surprises, those movies that weren't even on my radar, and then I'm like, wait a minute, you mean Ready or Not is great? Like one of my favorites of the year? Great? Yep, and it's here. Here at number 5, the movie is fun, it's violent, it's ridiculous, it's slick, it's cool. This is such an absurd premise that is pulled off brilliantly. Crazy family or people hunting someone down, yeah, that happens in movies. But the way it's delivered in this one, that's the unique element. This is a devilishly good time. I'm interested to see how many top 10 lists Ready or Not is actually on. I don't know the answer. It remains one of my favorites of the year. Obviously, one could argue the 5th favorite. Number 4. Keeping with those surprises, Fighting with My Family remains one of the more enjoyably wholesome times I've had at the movies this year. True story of WWE superstar Paige, but like any great film, you don't have to be a fan of the subject matter, the career they have, in order to connect with the characters. That's what this movie does. This is written and directed by Stephen Merchant. I can't wait to watch more movies of his because he completely crushed it. Not only is it heartfelt, it's hilarious. I feel like I'm talking about Shazam again. It's all the same words, really. I'm a sucker for a good, strong, enjoyable family dynamic. What can I say? I'm a sap! but fighting with my family, you will have a smile on your face. Do yourself a favor, check it out. Number 3. Next up, Ford versus Ferrari. This is another movie, if you're like, I'm not a car person, doesn't matter. First of all, Matt Damon and Christian Bale crush it in this one. Christian Bale cannot get overlooked here. But it's about the creative spirit, the entrepreneurial spirit, and the fact that the company, even if it's the one you work for, they're just gonna meddle and make things difficult because they're not artists. And even by the end of it, you're like, did that really have, you look into it, you're like, yeah, it totally did. This was actually my number 2 of the year until number 2. 1917 happened, and then 1917 became number 2 of the year. 1917 is the definition of epic. A simple story of a couple of relatable nobody soldiers in World War I have to go on their journey and relay orders to their troops deep in enemy territory. Also, all filmed to look like it's all one shot. I've seen the one shot movie done before, and it is undeniably very immersive. Logically, the next step would be, well, let's bring it to a war film. That should be immersive and epic, right? Yes. This movie was intense when bullets weren't even flying, when he's just creeping through dark places, hoping there's not an enemy around him. It's more intense because you're there. You're hoping an enemy's not around you. Because for all intents and purposes, you are in World War I with these guys. It gets a wide release in January. I'm going to be singing its praises until it comes out, and then I'm going to be singing its praises more. Number 1. Number 1 on the list, my boy, Joker. Joker is and was amazing. It started controversy that it had nothing to do with, really. Aside from that, longtime subscribers, as you know, I'm a huge Joker fanatic. But rather than the unstoppable force, the hurricane of Gotham, he's this sad story of this person getting beaten down in life. They took the concept of, oh, someone breaking in one bad day and just made it one bad life. And to be honest with you, it was everything I wanted in a standalone Joker movie. We can't have it here and not talk about Joaquin Phoenix. He was truly amazing. I hope he gets nominated for an Oscar for this. Like, I feel like the only thing that would keep that from happening is the Academy's like, but we nominated another Joker. Are we really going to do that twice? Yes, you completely should do it twice. I've seen Joker backstories before in the comic books. Actually, Jack Nicholson Joker, he had a backstory. And I always find them interesting, but this one, I actually empathized with him. I felt bad for the guy. I felt bad for the Joker. I know what the Joker ends up being. I know the monster he is, and I felt bad for him. This movie's epic. I enjoyed the conversations that were happening on YouTube about Joker, like the what did this mean? What did that mean? Was there symbolism here? Was it all in his head? I actually made a video myself. More than that, I was just so glad they pulled it off. And Joker is my favorite movie of 2019. All right, so that's it. Those are my top 10 favorite movies of 2019. Wow, I feel like I sped through that faster than normal. Hey, what can I say? No sense in drawing it out. If you want to hear me elaborate a little more on how I felt about the movies, I'll put links below to the video reviews. Just number them 1 through 10 without the titles. No cheating. I mean, at this point in the video, you already know, but still. But I sincerely want to thank you all for sticking around for another year with me, putting up with me. That jump cut asshole with his red background, how dare he, talking about movies and such. I mean, I'll spare you from me getting too sappy, but you know, I've always been a person who likes talking movies. So thank you for being like, I like that casual guy. I'll stick around. I appreciate you all. I just want you to know I don't take any of you for granted. It's because of you I get to do what I do. I take that to heart. All right, gotta take off because I'm starting to lose my voice. I gotta save my voice box for the top 10 worst movies of the year 2019. Yeah, that video's coming. So what's your list? What are your top 10 favorite movies of 2019? Whatever they are, comment below. Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.